Rafael, 69. Offense. He was giving them the business. Go back there. Hold on.
This is the Five with Farms and a Lucky Finn podcast.
What up, Jason? What up, Jason? Welcome to the Midweek show. This is the Lucky Finn Inning Podcast, a Five Arms and a Lucky Finn Network, I guess, show you could call it. We're going to talk about the midweek games today. We're going to review all the midweeks, who we're picking, who we're not picking for this weekend's games, and then we're going to talk Maction, SWACtion, the Big West, and the Sun Belt action and see who is going to be our picks for those, and a lot of them are pretty much at-large bids for the field of 64. So, Jason, how are we feeling about this week? You've been doing a lot of studying, reading up, and watching some games.
Don't give me too much credit.
No.
I think when I looked at the schedule for this week, it's a little lower than it's not as great of feelings as far as the amount of top matchups, but we do have some that stand out and some big mid-major ones. So I'm really excited to talk about those mid-major ones that have some big implications on conference standings.
So we had a couple big ranking games yesterday. We're going to be filming on Wednesday. So yesterday on Tuesday, we had Georgia, Georgia Tech, Nebraska, and Kansas, Pitt, and West Virginia. The one thing we can start off with real quick is Coastal getting one hit by UNC Wilmington. Thoughts on that for UNC? I mean, Jesus, too many North Carolinas. Coastal.
Yeah, I think this sucks for Coastal Carolina, especially when this is a team that's sitting in the mid-major. We've discussed them a little bit before. They're not playing as strong of mid or weekend games as some of the top conferences. So every game kind of matters for this team. I mean, at this point, we know Coastal's a good program, so them losing, I mean, they could survive some losses. They have the brand recognition now, which everybody loves, right? So over the last 10 years, they've built that up. So I don't think it hurts them too much, but I'd like to see them bounce back and get a sweep this weekend.
Yeah, I think they're sitting pretty for who they are, and maybe they're just a team that just, hey, we're kind of set in stone. We're in the pocket seat. So I don't think they have really much to worry about. Now,
they don't have a good showing this weekend. We might be talking a different tune, but I don't think it's too big of a deal. I think the biggest thing that stood out to me this week was the Pitt West Virginia game. West Virginia kind of went Johnny Holstaff, pitched some bullpen guys. The starter that started is not a normal starter. I don't think it was ever the intention for him to stay in too long. But I mean, he struggled to find the strike zone, and then gave up a big slog of a home run on a breaking ball. And then the rest of the staff did not pitch well. I remember I was actually watching this game at the beginning, turned it off to go do something else. And then you text me what felt like an hour later and told me they were in the fourth inning, and it was absurd. I mean, 23 runs on 13 hits is not good showing for the pitching staff of West Virginia. So, I mean, great for the offensive Pitt, but it's hard to say. Is it a better offensive performance or is it just a worse defensive performance?
It looked like it was just all offense. I mean, they scored in every inning but the seventh, and they're second in the third. They scored 7 in the second. They scored 8 in the third, and they just kept pouring. And like you said, I mean, you had texted me the score, and I was like, it's only the fourth inning. So it sucks. You lose that midweek game, but Pitt's got a good matchup this weekend, and so does kind of West Virginia. These are both series that we'll end up talking about later, but.
Yeah, the sucky thing for West Virginia is you're at home. This was a crowded ball game. I mean, I don't think you could find a seat in the park. There were people everywhere. It was awesome as far as the crowd goes. Fun fact, Kenny, I found out apparently this series used to be played sometimes at PNC Park, so in Pittsburgh, which I wish they could go back to that. That would be pretty cool. But
I mean, if both of the programs keep on building the way they are, and It'd be nice. I mean, Georgia Tech and Georgia did that, and
Yeah.
I think more teams should do that. I think it's just good to kind of do a home and home is good, but a neutral site here and there is kind of adds to it.
Yeah, because we also saw Boston College play at Fenway recently too. So it's like those kind of things are always neat.
Well, Kansas and Nebraska, round 2. Kansas is going to take the series direct, right? So they're going to take the 2-game series. They beat Nebraska early in their season.
Yep.
Look from we kind of came up with our field 64. You have Kansas hosting. I think people they were happy about that. And I think Kansas is starting to still, they're looking like that they're edging into that conversation to be a host.
Yeah, I think this Kansas team looks strong. They had multiple home runs in this game. Nebraska had a struggle. It turns out like there was an error by Nebraska, which ended up costing them a run because that error should have been an out, and then the next batter hit a home run. But there was another play where the ball looked like you could have ruled it an error, but I'm glad that the scorer didn't, especially being Kansas at home for Nebraska, because there was a ball hit up to center field, and with the turf, it bounced really high and went over the center fielder's head, which allowed him to get to third, and he ended up scoring as well. Now, who's to say that run doesn't score if the ball doesn't bounce over his head and he just makes a clean play? But either way, it ends up being a 2-run game at the end of the day, and those 2 runs both scored. So, but either way, great performance by both teams. Nebraska down in the 9th. I don't know who the guy was pitching for Kansas. I believe it was number 29. But Kenny, this guy's breaking ball was so strong. They actually put the RPMs. They put the RPMs up on the screen for one of his pitches. I have not seen that. So, yeah, it was definitely over 2,000. But I don't know the actual numbers on what anywhere in the 2000s could be good. So it's but really it was Nebraska chasing in the 9th. It felt like after they got a guy on with 1 out, you're down by 2, you're trying to swing for the fences a little bit. You got one of your best hitters up, what felt like he was swinging for the fences. They both end up getting out, and I mean end on multiple chases, right, for those last 2 batters. So it felt like Nebraska got away from what they're used to and what they're good at, which is hitting for average there in the 9th. But you never know what the game plan is, right? Especially when you're looking for a big win on the midweek and you're looking to get some momentum back for your team. So
yeah, especially coming off the good series against USC, and you took the words out of my mouth. They just didn't play their game, but I'll tell you what, I think Georgia Tech is looking like one of the most promising teams to win this College World Series this year. They put a whipping up on Georgia. A whipping. So, and that was, I think that game was over pretty quick, but let me pull up I'm over here checking the score of the Oregon. We won't jump into it because they're playing right now. Oregon State and Oregon are playing. And it looks like Oregon's got the bases loaded with 2 outs, but update not too good, top of the 3rd. But
that'll be a good one. I think that's a big one for RPI as well, just strength. I mean, Oregon State needs this game if they really want to continue to stay atop, because they don't play a lot of strong opponents the rest of the way, so they need this win.
Yeah, they're only 2 for 2 for quad 1 wins, and I think this is a game that I think everybody will look at them and be like, okay, are they a legit team? Because you and I keep saying, are they even a conversation piece to have?
Yeah, and I think we had talked about it the other day where it's like, we don't hate Oregon State. I have nothing against Oregon State, but it's just they don't have a strong schedule to be able to really tell if this team's good or not. And Oregon needs this win too. I mean, Oregon won that series against Nebraska, won their series against Illinois. But they need more big wins too, because for right now we have them in the top 16 hosting, but everywhere else I see does not, and they're outside of the top 16. They're probably looking at a 2 seed right now. And I mean, for a West Coast team, you would love to be a host, especially after last time they hosted, they got they lost in their own regional. So they really need to bounce back, and it would be cool to see them host again and have an opportunity to avenge their regional loss. I believe that was last year, right? So,
yeah. So look, before we're going to jump into our picks, and we'll go down the list of all the other midweek games. Florida loses a series to Jacksonville. I believe this should cement Florida as maybe barely even getting a 4 seed at that.
What
for in a region?
Oh,
in a regional
4 seed.
Oh, I'm being generous.
They're not going to get a 4. What are you talking about, generous?
I don't mind having them in not in there, but the way they talk about Florida. I know we didn't want to talk about Florida, but
are you Florida's saying probably going to get a 2? They're going to get a 2 seed.
Oh, absolutely not. Maybe 3.
Kenny, they're not going to get a 4 seed. All the 4 seeds are going to go to the conference winners of the lower conferences.
Well, give them 3. I really don't even want to give them a 2.
I mean, where they're sitting right now, they have a strong RPI. They're sitting 21. They're sitting right there for a 2 seed. But we talked about it last weekend, and yeah, I know we said we weren't going to talk about Florida much, but I mean, they still have those last 2 series against Kentucky and LSU. Those are going to be opportunities for them to bounce up, and they still have A&M and Oklahoma. Those are 2 strong. I mean, they got A&M this weekend. We're not going to talk about it too much just because we were limited on our games we could talk about. But A&M's a strong team. If they can come out and win that series, I mean, this is going to propel them into regional conversational. So I think
conversational. That's a good word.
Yeah. I caught it, but I was just going to ignore it. Thank you, Kenny.
But
some of the other ones that stood out in the midweek that we mentioned, UC Santa Barbara with the win over Cal Baptist. Those are two mid-major teams that are pretty strong in their resumes. Utah Tech for WAC. Those are, when you think about them and Cal Baptist, if you don't watch WAC baseball, they're 1-2. Mm-hmm. And so Utah Tech with a win over BYU. Utah Tech, I mean, this is a team right now. I thought Cal Baptist would be the team that wins the WAC, but it's looking like Utah Tech could after Cal Baptist lost their series to Tarleton State this past weekend, and Utah Tech standing number 1 right now in the conference. So that'll be interesting to see down the stretch.
Yeah, the only other one that I am a little worried about, and maybe not, maybe the Missouri State-Arkansas series game this week. I think Missouri State, it sounded like they were off to a hot start, but Arkansas just came through to pull that one off.
Yeah.
But Jason, you ready to jump into our picks of the week and we can get really rolling?
I'm excited. Let's do it.
All right. We got our top matches that we picked this week is Virginia at Pittsburgh, West Virginia at Cincinnati. Purdue is one of those hot teams that no one's really talking about. They got a good little series against USC, and then Georgia and Ole Miss, and then finish off with Oklahoma and Auburn. Jason, you are big on Pitt. I think you switched.
I did switch. As we were preparing for this, I had Virginia originally, then looked at it a little more. This has not much to do with yesterday's game just because West Virginia's pitching staff was so bad, but when I did some diving into this, Virginia's pitching is a little stronger, but Pitt's offense is tops and walks in the ACC. They're one of the better offensive teams, and they have one of the lowest K percentages, lowest strikeout rates in the conference. So I think this is going to be a performance that Virginia's pitching staff is going to have to come through. Now, don't get me wrong, I've seen some games where Pitt's given up a lot of runs. I believe one of their games against Wake Forest, they gave up 22. So they're going to have to rely on their offense. They're hot as of late, and it'll be interesting to see how they do. They're sitting right behind Georgia Tech in most offensive categories. So, and Virginia just isn't as strong offensively. So you'll see I usually lean towards pitching staffs. But for this one, I'm going with the home team. Which is a good call. Yeah. So, but this week, I'm going with the home team 2-1.
Oh, dude, I forgot to make that in play. That's what got me last week. Because even when I said it, well, since I've got Virginia, I'll take Virginia 2-1. I'll take Virginia 2-1 on the series.
Okay.
Maybe they settle in and, Pittsburgh off of that high win, maybe they get a little cocky. And speaking of Pittsburgh and West Virginia, we got West Virginia at Cincinnati. We both got West Virginia. Cincinnati's got Quentin Coates. He's a home run leader. He is second. He's got 23 home runs. Both are coming off midweek losses. Since he lost to Wright State 7-12, and Wright State's one of those potential field of 64 teams too to watch out for. Now you have on here, since he's big on home runs, and I'm sure that has to do a lot with Quincy Coates. Who has the advantages of this game?
In this series, you know what I think kind of stands out about West Virginia's home runs? They're towards the bottom in the conference, with if not the worst, with only 26. But they're one of the better teams for average and hitting. But their pitching staff is really strong. So I'm going to go against what I talked about in the last one and go with West Virginia's got a stronger pitching staff here, and I think they're going to be pretty ready to go after this loss yesterday. I mean, clearly they didn't care too much about yesterday. They didn't throw a normal starter. They kind of threw a Johnny Holstaff like we were talking about earlier. And so I think they're really focused about this series against Cincinnati, who's another team that's looking to make the postseason as well. But West Virginia is hoping to host a regional. So I got West Virginia 2-1.
I'll take West Virginia in a sweep. I'll take a sweep. Next we got Purdue at USC. I keep on wanting to say Southern Cal. I just need to keep on going with Southern Cal. Again, we talked about USC's got great pitching staff. Mason Edwards leads the country in Ks. I could see Purdue fighting in this series, maybe putting up a good fight. I don't see them winning a game. I'll take USC going 3-0 and Purdue putting up a good fight in maybe the Friday night game, kind of keep them off guard. But I think USC's got this one in the bag. 23? Are they really 23?
Southern Cal? Yeah.
Yeah.
They fell off after that series.
Okay.
I think people they're low on Nebraska for whatever reason. Nebraska looks good. I don't doubt it.
I don't doubt it. Yeah.
They dropped from I don't know. To me, they're still right outside of the regional host for our side, which puts them in that 17 to 20 range. But so it's not far off. But I think for this series, I got USC as well. I'm going to go. I wanted to go sweep too, but I'm going to go 2-1. Okay. I actually think opposite of you, though. I don't think Purdue's going to show up at all on Friday. I think I think Mason Edwards is going to have a great game. He gave up, I think, 8 or 9 hits last game, but he still did well, giving up only 2 runs in 7 innings. Still the nation's leading strikeout. And so I think he's going to show up big. And I think Southern Cal knows their offense needs to show up after that poor series against Nebraska. So I think they're going to jump on Purdue. But I think Purdue may go 2-0 Southern Cal, and then Purdue wins the last game of the series. Okay. But I see it 2-1.
All right. Got 2-1. Georgia and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is hot right now. Ole Miss is really getting good. Georgia's had a few up and down games lately. But I'm going to take Georgia on this one just because of this midweek game. I think they've kind of settled into a point where, hey, we really need to step it up. We've got a lot to prove. That was not a good look for us at all. But playing at Ole Miss is not easy. Not easy.
Not at all. I'm actually going Ole Miss on this one. Mm-hmm. I am not going sweep as much as I kind of wanted to. It's just tough to sweep anybody, especially the strong Georgia team as far as how good their offense is. So I'm going to go 2-1 Ole Miss, and I'm going to say, Hunter Elliott's a strong Friday night starter for Ole Miss. He's 6th in the SEC in strikeouts, only fourth in walks, so it's pretty strong. They've won 9 of their last 10 games, so they're playing really well. I think this is another team that a lot of people are kind of have a little lower. We also don't have them hosting a regional right now, but currently top 10 in RPI. Georgia's sitting at, I believe, in the 20s. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's about that time where we start talking about RPI a little bit. We talked about it a little
Right.
bit last episode, where this is about the time where you start looking at RPI because it's kind of giving you a glimpse of the whole season rather than just what have you done for me lately. But even then, Ole Miss winning 9 of their last 10. And if you take away one game against Arkansas, Georgia's top hitter, Daniel Jackson, is only hitting 178 in his last 7 games dating back to the start of Florida series, and only has 1 home run. And on the other side, Tristan Becerra has a home run in 5 straight games, ignoring their midweek game, Ole Miss's midweek game against Murray State, where he still went 2 for 2. So, it seems like Ole Miss's offense is playing well right now.
Yep.
And I think with their strong pitching staff, they're going to have to show up and kind of lock down that Georgia offense. And I think you look at this Florida, if you look at, we talked about Florida already, but if you look at how Florida performed against Georgia with their pitching staff and the way Ole Miss could this weekend as well, I think that's where I see Ole Miss kind of taking this series 2-1.
Yeah, their fan base seems to be on the I was about to say the lane train. They're not on the lane train anymore, but they're chugging along. They seem to be confident. Auburn and Oklahoma. Oklahoma just swept Mizzou. Mizzou is dead last in the SEC. This is a series that I'm going to kind of really focus on, especially within the SEC, because where's Auburn at and how well is Oklahoma? Auburn's got an incredible pitching staff. They're number 1 in strikeout walk ratio. They got a 4.21 K to walk ratio. Oklahoma didn't hit well against Texas. Texas is a great pitching staff. We talked about our boy Riojas. So I have Oklahoma taking the series. Oh, excuse me. Wrong. I have Auburn taking the series 2-1.
All right. I also have Auburn taking the series 2-1. I think this is another one where both teams really need a good performance here because both teams want to host a regional. Identical records across the board and overall and SEC play at 28-12 and 10-8. And so, like you were talking about, I'm leaning towards Auburn because of their pitching staff pitching so well lately. And don't get me wrong, Oklahoma's series win over Missouri. You expect to win those games. There's nothing wrong with what they did. I just think Auburn's pitching staff is just so strong. And the way they performed against Florida, we even talked about it, right? How good is this Auburn team? What are we going to see from them moving forward? And then they show up against Florida, play really well against a team that I think when I look at Florida and Oklahoma, they're both kind of similar in terms of offensive firepower. And so that's why I kind of lean towards Auburn here. And I'm going to go 2-1 just because it's so hard to pick a sweep.
Especially in SEC baseball, and especially how the way this season's playing out. I mean, we honestly don't have no idea. I don't think that's going across the board with everybody. But we're not going to leave out our favorite people. Let's jump into our mid-majors. We got a good picks up on the board. We got North Florida at Florida Gulf Coast. My favorite California team, Cal State Fullerton at UC Santa Barbara. We got some MAC action, Sun Belt, and the good old HBCU SWAC team. Jason, lead us off. Who, out of all of these, what is your most important series that you think?
Most important, Bethune-Cookman at Florida A&M is definitely the top. This is a BC team that is strong. They're looking to make the tournament for the SWAC, and Florida A&M is right there with them in terms of conference record at 15-3. So this is 1-2 matchup in the SWAC, and I think this Bethune-Cookman team is just really strong pitching staff and offense. So I think that gives them the edge over Florida A&M. And so, but going on the road, we talked about it. It's not easy, no matter where you go. So this is a big matchup for both teams, and but I think Bethune-Cookman's going to pull it out.
Yeah, the only thing I saw was FAMU's got a really good defensive team, but Bethune-Cookman looks on a tear. I mean, we talked about their pitching. Edwin Sanchez, he's incredible, but their hitting wise is incredible too. I'll take Bethune-Cookman sweeping FAMU this week, and they'll definitely be somewhere. Oh, I got a sweep.
Sweep on the road.
I'll take a sweep on the road.
I like it. I'm not agreeing. I got 2-1.
Yeah.
I think FAMU's going to come in, and I don't know that, like you were talking about him already, Edwin Sanchez. I don't think they're going to beat Edwin Sanchez, but
No.
I think they'll be able to pull out one of the other games. They're going to need to, because even if a loss here, they can. You still want to hold pace for that 2 seed in the conference. So,
yeah. Let's talk some MAC action. MAC action. We got Kent State and Western Michigan. Kent State is number 1. Western Michigan is number 4. And they're both, Western Michigan is similar to West Virginia. They're hitting on average. They're not going to hit many bombs. And they're both coming off a 3-game winning streak. I've been to a West Virginia game, and I believe at this time of the year it was pretty cold. So no hot bats, maybe. Maybe we'll see how the weather is. I don't know. I don't think it plays that big of a factor, but who you got?
I'm going Western Michigan. I'm going home team in this one. This is a Western Michigan team who doesn't have as strong of a resume as Kent State does, but they do have one of the best nation's best hitters in Tanner Malley. We talked about him a little bit a couple of weeks ago, so good to give him some recognition and get their team up here. This is number 1 versus number 4 in the MAC. Kent State kind of leading the way, but you look at this 15-6, 14-7, and that's 1-4. So it tells you the MAC is not separated by much. Kent State hasn't. Not that I think that they're bad, but I think Western Michigan. They're both going on 3-game win streaks. Western Michigan being at home, it's still in conference. As much as I think Kent State's going to perform here, this is one of those I kind of went back and forth on, just like. The North Florida Gulf Coast we'll talk about too. But I went with the home team, Western Michigan, 2-1.
Good pick. Good pick. Jason, bring us into North Florida since you brought them up already.
Who do you have in that one? Kent State, did you say sweep or 2-1?
Oh, no. I'll do 2-1. I'll do 2-1, and I'm because maybe it's cold. I mean, that it sucked. But the last time I watched Western Michigan was kind of getting beat up, but that was 4 years ago. So that what I just said has
different team,
nothing to do with anything.
And just so everybody knows, we're tracking this because on our weekend episode, we are going to recap how we did and see who won between us. And basically, every game matters. That's why we grabbed this series and who won. So it all matters. But you were talking about North Florida Gulf Coast. If we jump right into that. I am going Florida Gulf Coast 2-1. You'll notice my floating head if you're watching on YouTube, is not on the right side like the other ones are. It's because I just slightly leaned towards North Florida, but I had to still go with the home team in Florida Gulf Coast. Reason being, Florida Gulf Coast has struggled recently. They have lost 7 of their last 12. You'd think, well, then why are you going against North Florida when they've won 7 of their last 10? But Florida Gulf Coast is one of the best hitting teams in the conference for most major categories. Also one of the top pitching staffs in terms of strikeouts and walks. And they're just ahead of North Florida in run differential 1.6 to 1.1 per game. So for me, I think Florida Gulf Coast coming off of a 12-inning game in the midweek against FIU and a win, and North Florida coming off of a loss against Florida State. I think Florida Gulf Coast kind of has the edge here. That's a 12-inning game and a win. You can take a lot of momentum off of that, especially when you're trying to kind of take grasp of the A-Sun when you have a better RPI than North Florida, but North Florida is sitting number 1 right now at 14-4. You're at 8-9. This is a series they need to come in and win. And I'm going Florida Gulf Coast 2-1.
Yeah, I'm looking at their the rankings right now. Okay. I was looking for Florida Gulf Coast. There, yeah. North Florida is the pick to be that team to get into that field of 64. Excuse me, but I got North Florida. I'll take North Florida just because of their conference record and I'm glad you pulled up that logo. I did not know. We got to do a little episode about that.
About logos in general.
Yeah, which ones have sport baseball focused logos?
Yeah, where it's not their normal.
Yeah.
So you got 2-1 or 3-0?
3-0. I'll use my sweep. I think I got I'll take a
use
sweep.
your sweep. I haven't.
Sweep at-
You know what's crazy? I haven't used my sweep at all. But I tell you what, I got 2 coming in for the next
Oh, you
2
got two.
series.
Who's your first sweep? Who's your first
I
sweep?
got UC Santa Barbara with a sweep over Cal State Fullerton. You were talking about Fullerton being your favorite West Coast team. My favorite West Coast team right now is UC Santa Barbara. They're strong in RPI, which kind of shows that they've played really well during the whole course of the season. They've won 10 of their last 12 games.
Yeah.
Fullerton's lost three in a row, but let's be fair. They had a series against Oregon State. They lost 2-1, and then they lost to USC in the midweek. So I'm not holding too much against them. They're a strong team as well. Both teams have really strong pitching staffs for conference, but UC Santa Barbara kind of has the edge in offense. So I'm going with a 3-0 sweep UC Santa Barbara and trying to keep pace and hold that number 1 spot in the Big West. Who you got?
I will also take a sweep. I'll take Santa Barbara.
Oh, you already used it.
Nah, do I? I don't.
You get unlimited sweeps, unlimited amounts.
We don't get bonus points on them, so I mean, I guess I could keep on using them. I'll take Santa Barbara on a sweep. I believe there'll be a great 3 or 2 in the field of 64. So I think they're a good pick to take.
So here's a question, Kenny, and we could probably talk about it more after the series. But if you were looking at it right now, if you see Santa Barbara wins the Big West, I'm assuming you have them as a 2 seed. But if they don't win the Big West, let's say they get knocked out in the tournament, do you have them in as a 2 seed still, or do you think that drops them down to a 3?
I think it would drop them down to a 3 just because whoever's NCAA or D1, I think they're going to give it to somebody who is earned it, deserved it, because you can't just take away something because their overall record. You got to make the consequences of a loss, especially at the end of the season. So yeah, I think they'll move them to a 3.
Okay. I actually, I'm going to go on the other side and say I think they're going to be a 2 seed in the tournament. Now we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. I just wanted to touch on it a little bit, but let's talk about it again on this weekend when we recap the game.
Sounds good. Let's get in that last game into the Fun Belt. It is Southern Miss at South Alabama. Southern Miss is second in the Sun Belt, and South Alabama is third in the Sun Belt. Southern Miss is just here, up and down, there and there. I'm not on Southern Miss, but I do have them in this game. Taking the game at South Alabama.
Interesting. I also have them, but I have them sweeping. I'm pretty confident in this. Their pitching staff is pitching really well right now. They just came off of a sweep over Texas State, which was a team that was kind of holding pace in the conference. Was actually above Southern Miss in the conference, but Southern Miss at home got a big sweep. They needed it. They got a lot of momentum right now. So I'm going with a sweep at South Alabama. I believe this is a 2-3 in the SWAC, right? Or SWAC.
Yeah, 2-3. Yeah.
But Southern Miss has the edge in ERA. When I look at some of the other team stats, it looks like South Alabama has the edge in offense a little bit, but not by much. And so that kind of leads me to, hey, like, I think this Southern Miss team still needs to prove that they're for real if they want to get back into the idea of hosting a regional, because everybody seems to be out on them right now. So if they want an opportunity, they need another sweep. And I think they're going to get it.
Yeah, the Sun Belt is.
You said 2-1.
I'll do 2-1. I'll do 2-1. Yeah, the Sun Belt is a conference that's a lot of their teams are looking for at-large bids, and they're fighting. They're fighting. So that's conference we got to look at. Of course, my throat decides to do that. I'm still trying to check out the score for Oregon State and Oregon. It looks like it's still 1-0.
Wow.
But we can end it right here, Jason. What do we think Oregon State needs to do if if they lose this game, if they lose it, what does it look like? And if they win it, what does it look like? That'll be our last thing.
And then the trivia answer.
Oh,
I think a win over Oregon does not help Oregon State too much in terms of rankings, only because of just when I look at full resume and who's above them. I do think it looks good in terms of we sit here and talk about, hey, we need to see them perform against better teams because we don't see a lot of strong quad one wins. This is an opportunity. So I think that's the part that looks good for them. But in terms of rankings, I think they're kind of at their limit. They just keep winning and they're going to end up in probably a 6 or 7 in the tournament. They lose. I kind of think it drops them down out of top 8. So I think it hurts Oregon State more than a loss would hurt Oregon. I'll say that just in terms of scheduling and
yeah. I think it's the smallest little bit of proof that I think Oregon State has for the rest. I think they have a series against Cal Poly at the end of the year. I think we talked about that.
They've been playing a lot of Big West teams.
Yeah,
year.
They're all Big West over there. But yeah, Jason, we'll end it here. Let's get to our trivia question. And our trivia question was, who was the last national champion to miss the postseason the following year? Now, I remember Mississippi State. So I'm between Mississippi State and Ole Miss.
Could it have been both of them, possibly in back-to-back years?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. You want to put it up on the screen real quick?
I'm trying to get to the...
It is Ole Miss in 2023.
Which makes sense. I'll tell you what makes sense, because they were the bubble team. They were the last, or is that Mississippi State? God, why are the Mississippi teams? I think they were the last in that year. And to pull that one off.
Talking about the year they won?
Yeah, the year they won. I believe that was, yeah, I think they were.
I was about to say, I believe they were a 3 seed.
Yeah, they were like the last one in. But I believe LSU might take the cake on being probably the worst team to ever follow a national championship. So,
well, I don't. Yeah. So yeah, Ole Miss didn't make it in 2023. And fun fact, Mississippi State also didn't make it the year before in 2022. So back-to-back times, Mississippi has kind of let themselves down the following year. But LSU's on pace to kind of be right there with them. That's kind of why we had this question this week. LSU does not look good, and so the teams on the Gulf Coast not looking good in terms of following up their national titles. But everybody would rather win a national title than worry about missing the tournament. So you miss the tournament one year, not a big deal. Only one team can make it. Only one team can win it all, Kenny. But over 100 don't make the tournament at all. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I'll quickly end it here. They went 6-24 in conference, 25-9 overall. So they probably might be worse than LSU. I'll have to double check, but
oh wow.
All right, y'all. That is our midweek episode. We hope you see you this weekend and just kind of recapping everything. I'm hoping I do well because I realized that I'm messing up and not noticing that some of these games are at these locations, and I think that's what got me screwed up. So,
bounce back. Bounce
back time. All right. Please like, subscribe. Please share this. Leave a comment and review. I think the boys are starting a new show, the Hoosier Homers. I'm sure we don't have a lot of Indiana Hoosier fans besides my wife, but that's it from us. We'll see y'all later.